Your high intelligence is actually a silent killer of your happiness, and most geniuses are living in a mental prison they can't escape. You've been told your whole life that being smart is the ultimate golden ticket, but the reality is far more disturbing than you could ever imagine. While the rest of the world is playing a simple game, people with extremely high IQs are playing a version where the rules change every single second. This isn't about being good at math or winning at chess. It's about a fundamental wiring of the brain that makes normal life feel like a slow-motion car crash. But the most terrifying part isn't the loneliness or the constant noise in your head. There is one specific hidden psychological trigger that eventually destroys every high IQ individual if they don't see it coming, and I will reveal that secret at the end of this video. When you operate on a level that most people can't even perceive, communication stops being a bridge and starts becoming a massive, impenetrable wall. Imagine trying to explain the complexities of quantum mechanics to a toddler, but doing it every single day with every person you meet. That is the daily reality for someone with a 160 IQ. They don't just think differently, they experience a completely different reality. To them, small talk isn't just boring. It's physically painful because their brains are constantly searching for patterns, depth, and meaning where none exists. This creates a devastating social mismatch that leads to a profound sense of alienation. You aren't just the smartest person in the room, you are effectively an alien in a world that wasn't built for you. The high energy of their minds creates a frequency that most people simply cannot tune into or even understand. The sheer speed of a high IQ brain is a double-edged sword that cuts through the fabric of normal joy. While others can make a quick decision and move on, the genius is trapped in a loop of infinite variables. This is known as analysis paralysis, but on a level that would break a normal person's spirit. Every choice, from what to eat for breakfast to which career path to follow, becomes a massive calculation of probability and potential failure. You see every possible outcome, every hidden risk, and every logical fallacy in real time. This constant mental vibration leads to a state of chronic exhaustion that no amount of sleep can fix. It's like having a supercar engine trapped inside the body of a bicycle. The power is there, but the structure wasn't meant to handle that much torque, leading to a mental burnout that feels like a total system failure. There is a dark psychological phenomenon called the curse of knowledge, and it hits high IQ individuals the hardest. Once you know something, you literally cannot imagine what it was like to not know it. This makes teaching, leading, or even just existing around others a constant exercise in frustration. You assume everyone sees the same obvious connections you do, and when they don't, you feel a mix of confusion and deep-seated irritation. This isn't arrogance. It's a genuine cognitive gap that makes you feel like the world is moving through thick molasses. You're waiting for everyone else to catch up, but they never do. This leads to a life of quiet desperation where you start to dim your own light just to fit in. You begin to play a character, a watered-down version of yourself, just so you don't scare people away with your raw intensity. When your brain is designed to solve problems, it will eventually turn its focus on the biggest problem of all: existence itself. High IQ individuals are significantly more prone to existential dread because they can't help but see the grand scale of the universe and their own relative insignificance. While others find comfort in tradition or simple explanations, the genius sees the cracks in every foundation. They question the why behind the why, until there is nothing left but a cold, logical void. This high-energy pursuit of truth often leads to a unique form of depression that is resistant to traditional therapy. It's not that they are sad about their lives. They are overwhelmed by the complexity of reality. They see the patterns of history repeating, the inevitable decay of systems, and the fragility of human logic. It's a heavy burden to carry when you can't look away. You might think a genius would be incredibly confident, but the psychology of high intelligence often oscillates between a God complex and crippling imposter syndrome. One moment, they feel like the only person who truly understands how the world works, and the next, they are terrified that they've missed one tiny detail that invalidates everything. Because they are so aware of how much they don't know, they never feel like they've mastered anything. The more they learn, the more the horizon of their ignorance expands. This creates a high-stakes internal conflict where they feel both superior and inferior at the same time. They are hyper-aware of their own cognitive biases, which leads to a constant self-interrogation that never lets them rest. They are their own harshest critics, their own most brutal wardens, and their own most relentless pursuers in a race that has no finish line or prize. The biological cost of a high IQ is often found in the silence of the night. Sleep is the enemy of the hyper-intelligent mind because the brain refuses to shut down. While the world sleeps, the genius is still processing, simulating, and deconstructing. This isn't just insomnia, it's a physiological inability to quiet the mental noise. They often report feeling like their thoughts are a physical weight, pressing against their skull with a high energy intensity that demands attention. This leads to a reliance on various coping mechanisms, sometimes healthy but often destructive, just to find a moment of peace. The brain of a genius is metabolically expensive. It burns through glucose and mental energy at a rate that leaves them feeling hollowed out. They are constantly searching for a kill switch for their own intelligence, a way to just be human for a single hour without the weight. Success for a high IQ person rarely looks like the movies. Instead of being the celebrated leader, they often find themselves isolated because they are too far ahead of the curve. They propose solutions to problems that people don't even realize exist yet, leading to rejection and mockery. By the time the world catches up, the genius has already moved on to the next 3 problems. This cycle of being too early creates a profound sense of being unappreciated and misunderstood. They are often labeled as difficult or eccentric, simply because they refuse to ignore the logic that others find inconvenient. This isolation isn't a choice, it's a consequence of excellence. When you are standing on the highest peak, the view is incredible, but the air is thin and you are standing there alone. This loneliness is the price they pay for seeing what others choose to ignore. Contrary to the cold, calculating stereotype, people with extremely high IQs are often hypersensitive to emotional stimuli. Their brains process everything with higher intensity, including feelings. A small slight feels like a major betrayal, and a beautiful piece of art can feel like a spiritual awakening. This emotional volatility is a byproduct of their high-speed neural processing. They don't just see the world, they feel the weight of it. This makes them incredibly empathetic, yet also prone to complete emotional shutdown when the world becomes too much to handle. They are sponges for the energy around them, making crowded or chaotic environments feel like a sensory assault. Their high energy isn't just intellectual, it's a raw, unfiltered connection to the human experience that most people have the luxury of filtering out. They are essentially living with their skin off, exposed to every breeze and every burn. Now, we come to the most disturbing secret I promised at the beginning of this video. The trait that destroys the top 0.1% is something called hyperlogical detachment. This is when the brain becomes so efficient at solving problems that it begins to treat human relationships as equations to be balanced rather than connections to be felt. When you start calculating the ROI of a friendship or the probability of a heartbreak, you lose the very thing that makes life worth living. It is the ultimate trap of intelligence, becoming so smart that you think you're way out of being happy. You become a ghost in your own life, watching from the sidelines as others experience the joy you've analyzed into oblivion. If you want to survive the burden of your own mind and join the 1% who actually find peace, you know exactly which button to click. Subscribe to Human Factor now.